Frontier Airlines to Vegas?
Okay, so Frontier.
Get out of here.
Let me cook.
Do you want to survive the flight?
Okay, so when I went to New Orleans.
Airlines to Vegas.
Ooh,
Double feedback.
When I went to New Orleans, I flew Spirit Airlines from Charlotte. Oh no, I'm doing the same thing.
You're doing the same thing.
Sorry.
Well, at least we checked the audio.
Yeah. It was the first time where I thought I think I probably outgrown the discount airline.
Yeah, thank God.
But I do think it's dude, I play it like this in my mind. Flying the plane and getting me to a new destination is 99% of the job that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Frontier Airlines does the exact same job.
Have you ever flown business class with warm cookies? They give you socks. You get
Yeah.
to lay down.
Okay. So domestic first class is a fucking scam.
Okay.
You pay more and you get nothing. You get a warm nuts cup.
You do get a warm nuts cup.
Yeah.
But you get a little extra space.
A little extra
You
space.
get a full laptop-sized
Yeah, but I'm not
table.
I'm not that large of a guy.
Well, neither am I.
Yeah, how much space do you need?
You get a little. You get space. You get free, easy access to the restroom.
Yeah. Okay. There was a warm towel at one point. Okay, so I flew first class on Virgin Airlines back when that was a thing to Heathrow, and that was they're giving you massages.
Epic.
You want to get a haircut?
Yeah.
It was all kinds of shit.
They're out of business.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Alfalfa Podcast. It's just Eric and I today. We're gonna have a nice little chat.
We're gonna bring the alpha today.
Yeah, we got some good stuff.
It's gonna be alpha rich.
I think. Let's see here. What's up to everyone in the chat? Let us know if everything's working out, audio, visuals. And what are you sipping on there?
I have tequila, armadillo still
Okay.
from our boy A Franco, and a little Pacifico in the back. So it's like a full Mexicano.
Which one's your primary?
The tequila is the primary,
You got two backups?
and then I got a couple backups.
My primary is Diet Coke. But we're going to have a beverage after this.
Good lad, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
I want to give a tip of the cap to you, sir, for staying diligent on your workouts.
Yeah. The thread is active. We're motivating each other. I put in a little Muay Thai last night. Looks like you got 15,000 steps in today.
Yeah, I'm on this thing where work calls, I do it while walking, and then I just get 15,000 steps, no problem. It's awesome.
You ever walk with your daughter?
Yeah.
Just kind of walk, you can carry?
I'm doing a 19-pound ruck.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. Let's pay the bills, shall we? Everyone go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Check out the pre-alcohol drink. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It takes care of a nasty toxin. Its name is...
acetaldehyde.
That's right. And it's the drink you drink before you drink. So I didn't have one tonight, but I'm going to have one tomorrow. Because
Why?
I'm heading to Las Vegas for the Formula One Grand Prix.
Oh my goodness.
Quite excited. So excited. So I got a 3-pack for 3 nights.
That's all you need.
That's all we need. And drink one every day, have my beverages, wake up, not feel like shit.
Get a workout in probably?
Get a workout in because I got to text the thread. Get a lot of steps in because we're going to be walking a lot. And enjoy the Formula One race. If you guys want to try it out, Thanksgiving's coming. Family's coming over for maybe some food and beverages. Be a good thing to have for the family to come out and give them for Thanksgiving dinner, potentially. Use the code alfalfa at checkout. Get 15% off. It lets them know you heard it from us. And if you don't like it, doesn't work for you, they'll give you your money back. So thanks, ZBiotics, for sponsoring the pod.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I, before we dive in, can I ask you about this upcoming journey you have? You're going to Las Vegas. You're going to go see Formula One.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky because one of our good friends, our mutual friends, he's buddy with one of the big sponsors of the Red Bull Formula One team. It's actually a crypto company called Gate.io.
Nice.
I don't know what I've never heard of them.
Yeah, I don't do crypto
but
anymore.
but apparently they spend enough money to be a massive sponsor of the Red Bull team. So
are you going to get paddock access?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm surprised no one's tackled a driver. You know,
that's your first
I might do it. Yeah, so we'll be in the paddock there in the garages, and
So you watch this on TV typically.
I watch the practices, the qualifying, and the race on TV, and that's the ideal way to watch Formula One, kind of like a soccer game, I'd imagine.
Well, hold on, you don't watch like the warm ups, the practices, or
Well, I'm just saying it's better than in person because it's like a 4 mile, course.
You get to watch one turn.
Yeah, you get to watch one turn. Unless you're in the hospitality area, then you can see everything on the TVs and hear the audio. And then ideally, you want to be at the turn where all the passes are. And there's a certain section of like the Las Vegas circuit where a lot of passes happen.
That's the typical setup. Is that there's like one turn where?
Yeah, it depends on the race. Some races like Monaco, there's no passing because it's a road course.
So if you're in the pole position, you're probably going to win.
You're going to win because the streets are so narrow. But this is on the strip. So it's going to be raining. It's going to be cold, which means it's going to be quite slippery. And there's always good passing in Vegas, so it should be a good race.
Good meaning exciting.
Yeah.
Because
Mayhem.
like
chaos.
It's raining every day.
It looks like
weekend.
it. Yeah, it looks like it. It's going to be epic. And let's see. Anyone else? Oh no one likes talking about Formula One. I was looking for some Formula One chaps in the chat. It's okay. I'll come back with a report afterwards.
I feel like Formula One has kind of established itself now. Like I'm not like a motorsports guy, but I feel like Formula One has established itself as like a cool new rich man's game in the way that like golf used to be. Like Formula One's kind of taken over.
Golf, and then you just go wealthier sport. Formula One. Next, we'll be in the was it Davis Cup, the sailing cup.
Oh my God, yeah,
that would be
polos in between there somewhere.
Yeah, polo. But I actually think most tech-oriented people, mainly guys, would actually enjoy Formula One because it's truly a team sport. Like there is a team that has to advance technically, and then you have the skill of the driver. And I'd say it's probably like 60 to 70% the car and the engineering team that have like 1,000 employees trying to squeeze out like a tenth of a second. And then you have the skill of the driver, and you have stars like Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen.
That's actually pretty okay. I never thought of it that way. But in like American pro sports, like the top three, you have like the nerds, the sabermetrician guys.
Yeah.
And I think the traditionalists sort of like hate those guys.
Yeah.
They're like, shut up.
No,
nerds.
those win here. Those rise to the top.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you find the right analysis, the right way to do it, a simulator that mimics the actual racing better than another simulator, like the nerds win in this sport.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. And what's also interesting is your teammate is your biggest competitor because he's the only one who has the same exact car you do. So when you're benchmarking, you can only benchmark against your teammate.
Okay, so that's like how you know who the better driver is.
Right. It's really the only way. And so within the team, you have like people working on the car, and then you have like the drivers' teams who are actually competing against each other. And you have there's two championships. There's the team championship and then the individual driver championship. So it makes it for good drama.
Okay,
good
so
storytelling.
who are you most excited to see in person?
In person, I'm a big Lewis Hamilton fan. So hopefully,
but he's not doing so well.
No, he's not doing great. He's doing very poorly. He called his own season a nightmare.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. It'd be cool to see him, but there's 3 people in the hunt that could potentially win. There's a favorite, Lando Norris from McLaren. Oscar Piastri is kind of like potentially a winner, and then Max Verstappen, who was way behind, has just like in the last like 6 or 7 races come roaring back. But
okay,
it's going to create interesting dynamics because Lando Norris has everything. He's in the favorite. He can't crash on the turn one when they're like racing off the line in those first few turns. He cannot crash. It's the only way he can lose is if he crashes. So the other 2 guys who will probably be next to him on the track are going to be like, well, this guy's got nothing to lose. Like, I'm going to fucking go for it. I'm going to go for every pass because I know he's going to have to get out of my way because he cannot afford to crash.
Okay.
So it's going to create good.
Pretty fun.
Yeah, good.
I think I'd be most excited to see the other celebrities. I'm basically assuming that you're a celebrity.
I'm just there for the networking.
I just want to see like Biebs down in the paddock too.
There'll probably be a ton of celebrities there. Yeah, in the paddock.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Our mutual friend is just excited about the networking. He's a deal maker's deal maker.
deal maker,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
a deal maker. So anyway, I'll report back next
Yeah,
week.
fun, dude.
Yeah. All right. Chat is busy. What's up, everybody? Where is everyone? Looks like between two ferns. Especially true in the McLaren right now. Yes. There's a.
What does that mean?
He's saying that your teammates are your biggest competitors, and so those two drivers are number one and number two in the championship.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did Lando Norris come out of nowhere? Because
He's always been a good driver, but the car, like I said, it's 70% the car. So now the car is clearly the best car. So now it's just between him and his teammate. And I don't know how long he's been racing for, maybe like 6 years. And his teammate's only been racing, this is his third year. And they're comparable. They're pretty damn close to each other.
yeah,
And we'll get to bet in Vegas, so that'll be fun too.
that's fun.
All right, let's get into it here. We got some good stuff.
Yeah, where do you want to start? Because
Yeah, I want to start with the Shohei Ohtani, since we're on sports.
I love talking sports. Oh shit, I didn't mean to go to camera 3.
That's okay.
I'm excited to talk sports because my entire mindset has been fixated on NVIDIA.
Yeah, so let's take a break and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll hit that later.
So I came across a Twitter post the other day. Let me get it up on the screen. So someone had found one of Shohei Ohtani's, and for people who don't know, he's the best player in Major League Baseball. I think he won MVP.
He's won MVP several times in a row.
Right. And he just won his second World Series. He's a unique player in that he's one of the best pitchers and one of the best hitters, a la Babe Ruth. And someone went back and found one of his goal planning sheets. Why don't you put that up on the screen? So this is what it looks like in Japanese, and then I'll translate it in here to English. So that's what it looks like, and basically it's a 64 square grid if you're watching it, but if you're listening, imagine a 64 square grid, and you're looking.
Wait, what's the name of this thing?
Oh, the Hakata method.
Yeah.
So if you want to look it up, search the Hakata method, and imagine it like 8 boxes of 8, essentially what it is, and the center box is where you put your main goal. And in here, he says, get drafted first overall. I think he was talking about the Japanese baseball leagues. And then around that, there are 8 boxes around the box in the middle, your core goal. And you have to come up with 8 supporting goals, objectives to get you to that goal. And then in the boxes around there, you take those 8 and you come up with 8 like tasks, things you need to do to accomplish each objective. So if you imagine it, it's 8 tasks to accomplish an objective. There's 8 objectives, which then get you to your ultimate goal. And I always I nerd out on these like goal setting kind of practices.
Because I saw this one come across my Twitter feed, and I was wondering if you would if it would resonate with you, because it's very sports, but he has achieved like all of his goals.
Yeah, it's funny. In here, he's got pitch variance, and under pitch variance, he has increased ball count, perfect the fastball or the forkball, sharpness of slider, a pitch for finishing batters. And pitch variance is one of his objectives, at least to his main goal, which is get drafted overall. But yeah, I think it's very... But you can do it professionally. I did a little practice run.
Did you do one?
Yeah, this weekend, because I was like, oh, this is cool. I want to do it and just see what comes up.
Okay, so, I mean, are you like willing to share your...
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak about it vaguely, but like one of our brands, we want to sell off a majority stake of the company sometime in the next 4 or 5 years, and we have a path to do it. And so it's becoming clear like what the eight supporting things you would need to do that. And so just started listing those out. We kind of already knew them, but it was cool to put it in the framework and see it. And then for each of those 8 supporting, you have to come up with like 8 sub tasks or sub objectives.
Right.
And
so you could see that as the 8 subtasks, they break out, and then there's like 8 more surrounding those.
And it's nice because you could see it all there. But I think I don't like the format as much, because when you go back to doing this, I mean, it is easy to read, but I think it's the practice of like forcing yourself to ask yourself the questions about, okay, well, what are the 8 things that would lead me to this goal? And then what are the daily things I need to do, or the sub objectives I need to accomplish?
Okay, so
I find that the most helpful.
Okay, so you're more well versed in like goal setting and stuff. Like I tend to just like stick to my lane and just try to perfect that lane. I think I just do it without sort of like this sense of direction in the way that Shohei does, but I'm like intrigued by the idea of like, what if I was like much more intentional about it? But then I actually tried to do one of these myself today.
Did you do a professional one or a personal one?
So where I started doing both, but the one that I gravitated towards most was a personal one, and I know that just from talking to you over the years, your main goal should probably be like a SMART goal.
Yes, that's my biggest criticism of this. But yeah, continue.
Okay, so SMART goal is it's an acronym, right?
Yeah.
So these are specific, measurable.
Mm-hmm.
What's the
actionable?
Actionable, realistic,
and time-based.
Timely.
Yeah.
Okay, so the goal I wrote down on mine I'll share mine. On a personal goal sheet, I'm a new dad, and I wrote down like I want to become a great dad, and I had that as my main goal, and that's obviously not a SMART goal. It's like not measurable. It's not timely. It's not specific. But I did think it was like noble in a way. And I identified these factors that I think would make me a good dad.
Okay. What do you got?
Well, I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
A protector, a provider, a friend, a husband, a role model. I wanted to be present. And I wanted to add in longevity because
you need to be alive to do.
You got to be alive.
Interesting, because you told me the longevity part. I assumed you did a health, like a personal goal for health, but
yeah. So like the health part kind of fell into that longevity thing, but then it was cool to break out maybe the actions or behaviors that align with each of these 8 different subcategories. And I don't know how like useful it is if your goal isn't SMART, right? But I think it's cool. It's like a focus. Yeah.
I think the biggest part of like these goal setting frameworks, it's in a format that you can easily reference every day. Because I don't know about you, but let's say you have like a health goal, a professional goal, an investing goal, a relationships goal, a mental goal, like your mental state. It's hard to memorize all the things that you actually want. And sometimes just when you're sitting on the toilet in the morning, like reviewing them, like, oh yeah, you're right. I do want that. Like I actually want that a lot. And it just resets you for the day and reminds you that this is important. In order to get that, I have to do these things and I should not do these things. And
okay. So I was going to ask you if you thought the power of this, and I think there is a definite power in this through visualization or manifestation, and sort of the proof is in the pudding. I think people who do it,
I think there's something that happens with like your reticulating activating system where I mean, a good example would be, let's say you recently this year bought a Tesla, right? And before that, you maybe didn't care about it. But all of a sudden, when you started looking at Teslas, thinking about buying a Tesla, you just saw Tesla. And everything Tesla, your mind became like open to, right? Your brain was like almost subconsciously saying, we need to receive everything Tesla because I'm about to make the decision. And something happens similarly, I think, to your goals. When you actually write them down, go through the thought process, think about them frequently, your subconscious will and your brain will perceive all the things that could potentially help you with that goal. Whether it's overhearing a conversation or you see some bit of information online that could help you, a conversation you could have, a tool you could use, you're just more perceptive to it. And so I think that's the real power. It's not like it is certainly focus of where you put your time, but you're just acutely aware of all the resources you might need, and when they come up, you're ready to see them.
I suppose let me. This might be like a good template for what not to do, but this is like the direction I have taken it in the past, and which is still maybe pretty good. It's like better than most, which is to even have goals at all is like a pretty good start. But I would have like a a beginning of the year goal that I would a goal planning sesh with my wife, where we would like sort of list out the things that we want to accomplish in the next 12 months within the frameworks of like health, wealth, and relationships. And something that you mentioned is that in your experience, when you like write out your goals, they tend to come true. They tend to manifest themselves in such a way.
I have like quarterly goal spreadsheets from way back a long time ago. And I sometimes will frequently go back to like 2016 and just be curious like what my goal was. And what I often find is that they've all eventually happened, but they didn't happen in the exact deadline. They didn't happen in Q3 of 2016. But like I eventually got what I was going for. It might have happened in 2018.
You did.
Yeah.
Because like in my experience, what might have ended up happening is like I got some of the goals, but then some of them I realized after even just 12 months later, I was like, I didn't actually want that. You know, that was like something that I wanted at that exact moment, and I kind of got over it.
Yeah. I mean, like I'd probably find the same thing, but I would argue that like the feeling I was trying to get from that, or the effect on my life, the broader effect on it, those are the stuff that I'd be like, you know what? I did get that. I got it through something else very similar, but I got it. And yeah, it's really powerful to be able to go back and be like, oh shit, it doesn't exactly happen when you want, but like if you stay on it, it'll eventually happen. And also my goals have been roughly the same, you know, for the last 10 years, I'd say.
Like they haven't shifted too much.
Not too much, no.
Okay, because I think another component of it is Shohei, in that example, he had like a very clear outcome that he desired. Yeah. And he was certain that that's what he wanted. And if I think about my professional, because I was going to do this professional one that I am still questioning whether or not I want to do it. The reason why I'm questioning is because like I don't actually know if I want this exact outcome.
Right.
It would be a dramatic change of pace, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm just kind of exploring the idea.
Yeah, you kind of ask yourself like why 3 or 4 times. You know, if this is the outcome, why do I want it? Well, why do I want that? Well, why do I want that? You might end up back where you started and be like, okay, I actually don't. I don't need that. Mm-hmm. I don't want that. But he's impressive because he hit his goals and then beyond. And by the time, he wanted.
Open up. Can you open up the laptop again? And like within the card, I put a comment down because at that same time, he was a sophomore in high school when he wrote this, but he also did another one.
Oh.
He also did another one at that same time where he listed out by year what he intended to achieve.
Okay, here we go. You can throw it up.
Okay.
Age 18, join an MLB team. Age 19, master English. Let's see if we skip ahead. Age 22, win the Cy Young Award.
So none of these happened by this time because he was still playing in like Japanese, like the Nippon Japanese League.
Okay, and then let me call out one that did happen. Age 32, win second World Series.
Okay,
didn't that just happen?
That just happened. And on age 31, I thought it was crazy. He said, have my first daughter.
Yes.
Which he did at age 31.
Oh, shit. Age 33, second son is born.
Crazy.
And age 34, win third World Series. Age 36, break the strikeout record. Age 37, first son starts baseball. That's great.
So I think this is crazy because it kind of aligns with what you're saying, where it's like maybe not all of those things came true, but directionally.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Directionally, it ends up.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So is this the power of manifestation? Is this the power of having a very certain idea of who you are and what you want? Like, what do you attribute this success to?
I think it's the fact that when you are very clear in what you want, and again, it's not like having it on a sheet somewhere. It's the fact that when you have to write it down, you have to have clarity of thought. You know, like you're saying, I thought I had this goal, but like, I'm not sure I want it. But when you get to that point where you're like, okay, actually I do want this, or no, I want something different. And you write it down. It's the process of you getting clarity of what you want and then seeing it over and over again.
Okay.
It opens your mind. Like, I don't believe in that secret manifestation bullshit.
Okay.
But I do believe that when you when you are clear on what you want, your mind, your consciousness is a lot more open to the opportunities, the tools, the people, everything that can get you there.
So just so I'm clear, the work is done before you actually write it down. Like that, the work is like you have a very clear idea of who you are.
It's actually really hard to figure out what you exactly want.
It's really hard.
It's really hard.
It's really hard because I was doing it in my professional life, which is going well, but I was like, this avenue could be interesting, but that's not the same clarity that Shohei has.
And if you really want to nerd out, you should probably ask yourself, okay, what are the 5 questions? What are the 10 questions I'm going to ask myself that will help me get in the state to where I could get clear on what I want? And like Tim Ferriss has some really good questions he's done in his goal setting. You can find a bunch of them online, but like you ask good questions, you're going to get better answers. You know, like you might say, okay, well, I want this. And you might just say, well, how could I get this in 6 months instead of 2 years? How can I get this with 1/10 of the money involved? And, you know, what one thing if I had would render everything else irrelevant? Like if I just had this, none of the goals matter.
Yeah, you mentioned that one a lot. You love that one.
I love that one a lot because it helps you focus on like, oh, this is the main thing. And like every day at work for me, I try to keep the main thing because as a business owner, you just get all this bullshit just thrown at you all day. And they're all like important. Some of them are urgent. Like they're all relevant, but you have to like pull yourself out and be like, wait, what's the main thing? Okay.
This resonates with me so deeply because I feel like even on our podcast and like our podcast listeners too, we have like optimizer type folks. And I feel like a lot of that is superfluous. You know, like what I pride myself on is the ability to like remove most things and just identify what the big levers are and just hit those.
Yeah, it's funny. I haven't like explicitly shit on all the I like people who think they're into biohacking and they're doing like the nth degree biohack, but it's like, well, do you work out every day? Well, no. It's like, well, I mean, should we just get that down? And then is your diet like somewhat acceptable? Well, no. It's like, okay, well then why are you injecting peptides in your neck? You know,
right.
When why are you messing with that? Like just make the main thing the main thing. And like for work, it's like, okay, well, I'm here to make money. So what is my biggest opportunity to make money? Is it, you know, it's not starting a new business, not starting a side hustle. It's an opportunity to like sell equity in this brand. And that's the main thing. So like everything has to somehow work backwards from that, especially in the middle of the day when you're like, fuck, what do I work on? You know, too many things going on. And sometimes having your goals down when you know what the main thing is, it'll focus you. And
well, I'm gonna quote you on that and harken back to it for one of our later segments. Okay. That like your job at work is to make money. Because we have a segment later that we're going to talk about work. But
anyway, I'm curious if anyone in the chat did Nick just drop reticular activating system with no explanation? Short explanation. It's the part of your brain that helps control your consciousness.
Yeah, that one flew over my head too.
Google it.
I'm so glad you asked.
Yeah.
Reticular.
Like Tony Robbins did this exercise one time. He's like, okay, want everyone to look for red. Look for red. You look in the audience, red. And now he's like, okay, how many blue things did you see? And he's like, okay, well, not. And then he notices like who raise your hand if you saw something pink but called it red just so you could win more. And like he's like, if you can prime your brain for like red, you'll see more red, and it's easy. And then he says blue, and then you look around, and you're like, oh my god, I see so much blue, and I didn't see any of that before, especially when I was looking for red, and especially when I wasn't looking for anything in particular. And so if you can prime your brain like, this is my goal, this is what I need to do, these are 8 things I need to do, and then when opportunities, people, tools, knowledge comes up,
becomes
you
clear.
You see it, which I think you otherwise wouldn't see it. And I think that's what's actually happening when people say manifest, is that they're just being clear on what they want. But you need manifestation plus hard work.
What an unlock, by the way. And you called that the reticular
activating system?
Yeah.
Activating or activation?
Pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
But I think if you were to look at this Hakata method or whatever, is this like
you're priming everything. I mean,
is this just as useful as the other goal setting templates you've used?
Yeah. So the one I use right now is like a vision, and it's mostly like the feelings you want. Like, what do you want to feel about your life? And then there's a goals for every category. So it's like health, your relationships, maybe your mental state, maybe your active business or your job or your career. Maybe it's like investing money oriented goals. And then maybe it's some kind of contribution or celebration portion. And then under each, there's an outcome that you want, a result. There's the immense, immeasurable pleasure you'll get from it if you achieve it. There's the immense, immeasurable pain if you don't get it. And then the massive action plan.
Okay, yeah. So I feel like the action plan, just from like an outsider, would be the most important. Here's how you get there.
Yeah, and so the manifestation is what you want, and maybe the pleasure.
The feeling, yeah.
The feeling, they get that part, but then they miss the like, no, you need a massive action plan. You need to do shit.
Yeah, and that like maybe with this Hakata method, it's kind of missing like the actions. It's like, even with Shohei's, he's like, well, I want to throw 100 miles an hour. I need to have range of motion, etc.
I think it does a better job than most at doing it, but what it doesn't do is like break it into sequencing, right? Because you can't do all 63 things at once.
Okay, can we actually look at Shohei's?
Yeah, you might bring it up again.
It's just, I think there's some fun ones that we can focus on.
Okay. Do you remember any? I can call them out.
Okay, so I thought that it was interesting that for him to be the first pick in the Nippon Baseball League, he thought that karma was an important
all
one.
right. So he has karma, one of it, and his sub objectives for karma are greetings, pick up trash, very Japanese, keep room clean, show respect to umpires, read books, be someone people want to support, be positive, take care of equipment.
Okay, so did that stand out to you? Because that's crazy.
Yeah.
To think of like an athlete at the top of their game in American sports. They're doing none of those things. They're not showing respect to umpires or picking up trash.
Yeah, you know what? I think the American version of this would be like media ready or like PR ready. And they would put the things they think they should, have amazing social media presence or whatever. But I think he kind of accomplishes that. Like, he's a very likable
to be fair,
person. And
I mean, like, I'm a Padres fan. Dodgers are our biggest rival, and I love rooting for Shohei. He's like cool dude.
And the Padres are the only team he doesn't tip the cap to anymore. He doesn't show respect for him anymore. He doesn't tip his cap to the dugout.
All right, well,
he
I'm
lost
out.
Respect.
I'm out, Shohei.
But yeah, that was the funniest one.
Yeah, cool, man. I think that's. I want to be. I want to be a little more intentional with my goals. I think it's cooler if you have a very smart, specific goal that you want to accomplish. I can think of one in particular in the professional world, but again, I'm not like certain that's where I want to take it.
Can I bring up another part of this I've been thinking about lately? So there's one part of you who like should obsess and like almost visualize the goals, right? You hear that a lot. Visualize them, and I think you should do that every so often. I find that really helpful. Like every 3 months, 4 months, be like, okay, and then even like every morning for like 2 minutes, just be like, oh yeah, that's right, I did want that. Okay, yeah, that'll be awesome. But what's actually more useful, especially as you're on the on-ramp, like you don't have anything. You're on your way to the goal. I actually think it's more helpful to think about everything that could go wrong. So let's say you want to start and sell a business. Okay, when you have nothing, it's probably better to figure out, okay, what do I want? How do I get it? But then once it's on its way, I think it's actually more helpful to be like, oh my God, what could go wrong?
Okay, so when you mention this, like, how do you, what are the mechanics of how does this look in your like goal sheet? Like,
it's actually not in there, but I find it more useful. Like when I go to bed at night, I'm like, oh, that could go wrong. That could go wrong. And I'm like, okay, I need to mitigate those risks. Mm-hmm. And then they somehow make them way into the goal sheet, maybe the next quarter or whatever. But those are the things I think about the most. Because like our business is doing great. It's growing. It's profitable. And it's like, okay, what could fuck this up? And think about all the risks from the revenue concentration to, the people risk, everything. And I actually think that's more useful tactically every day to make sure you actually hit the goal than to sit there and be like, I really want this amount of money. I really want this amount of money. It's like, if you're on your way already, you should kind of, it's not fun to do, but obsess over
the risks.
Yeah.
I think my mind goes in so many directions off of this, but like, this is probably, what you're saying is probably very valuable if your goal is specifically for the business, but there's cost to it. Like, you're going to wear an emotional burden by just thinking of risks nonstop.
Well, here's the thing. When you own a business, you do it anyway. Like, you just go through that like hell exercise anyway. You're in that like mind state a lot. Like, oh my God, this is a problem. Because mostly only like the biggest wins and the biggest problems come to you, especially as your company gets bigger. You know, like, you get the problems that no one else could figure out on the way.
I agree, but also like, just to a point you said before, it's like, just focus on the biggest levers and you don't need to sweat every risk, every small thing.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe it's more one of the questions that you asked in the goal setting process is like, okay, well, what could go wrong? And maybe it just brings up other goals or sub objectives that you need to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Anyway, you want to talk about markets and money and investing and the NVIDIA earnings?
All I think about these days is NVIDIA earnings.
So how does that take place? Like, it's Sunday night and you're like 72 hours away, and Monday night you're like 48 hours away.
It's not even that. It's over the last 2 weeks I've seen my net worth just get absolutely punched in the mouth.
Yeah, same.
And I'm thinking the main question is it over?
So walk me through this. It's important because NVIDIA is the largest company in the world.
Yeah.
AI-related companies are what percentage of the S&P?
Yeah, so I have some stats written down, but I'm just gonna go off the top of my dome, and I'm just gonna probably frame it like how I have been for the last 6 months or a year or so. Is that I have believed, and I still believe, that this entire bull market is an AI-driven bull market, and all risk assets trail in the wake of this AI bull market. And I thought that this earnings call today was very important because this is sort of going to inform everybody, like, what is the status of the AI bull market. I think if we dig a little deeper in that, what I saw is like, okay, so I look at the S&P 500 and I just look at the top 10 holdings. The top 10 holdings, 8 of which are like completely focused on AI.
Yeah.
And the only 2 exceptions are Apple and Berkshire Hathaway.
Huh.
Okay.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So the other 8 are completely focused on AI, and that just those 8 combined accounts for 35% of the S&P.
Oof.
And that ignores all the other companies in the S&P that are focused on AI. So you aggregate all that, it's much higher.
Are you talking about like the top 8 you're talking about are building AI services and products, but then the other 492 or whatever, or 490 are using AI in their business? Is that what you meant by that?
Well, I only looked at the top 10 just because I didn't want to do an exhaustive list.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But
so minimum 35% of the S&P 500.
That's what I was assuming. But also like maybe a company like Amazon also has like an e-commerce business that's not necessarily fully AI focused. Yeah. Meta has like an advertising business.
But you could argue CrowdStrike, very in the AI zone because
right, like CrowdStrike is security based, but it's like using NVIDIA GPUs to bring AI into their business. So like you could argue that AI is half of the S&P 500 right now.
Yeah.
And within the NASDAQ, it's even higher because the top 10 companies in the NASDAQ, the only one that isn't explicitly AI focused is Netflix. Okay. So I thought not only is NVIDIA the biggest company on earth, but we have this like reflexive impact on like if Netflix keeps the party going, then NVIDIA keeps the party going, then the rest of the NASDAQ and the S&P also participate in this like wave.
So if that falls, the whole thing falls.
Right. And like what we have seen in the 2 weeks prior is like this AI crash in quotes. It's like an AI correction, maybe you'd call it.
Yeah, I saw your stats you put in here, and didn't seem so bad after I read them out.
Well, why don't you read out some of them out loud?
Okay. Broadcom -11%, Microsoft -12%, NVIDIA -13%, Amazon -15%, Tesla -15%, Meta -26%.
Okay, hold on. I'll pause there.
Okay.
Okay, so that's in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's pretty dramatic for the largest companies on earth to drop that much that quickly. It like I think what we're determining in our mind is like, was that a crash even? And if that is a crash, is the party over?
Yeah, I think you'd argue it's a correction. Just will it be a crash is the question.
Sure.
And it's funny. I think it's relevant because no matter what you're invested in, you have exposure to this. If you're
right, even if you're just a passive investor.
Yeah, your retirement, 401k is just in the S&P 500. You are
That's what I'm saying.
highly allocated.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be like half of your exposure is AI, whether you like it or not.
Okay. Can I mention the last one now?
Yeah.
Okay. Google all-time highs.
Google is making new highs while everything else is crashing.
All right. I think I got a good tweet to maybe summarize maybe why that's happening. So let me pull that up here. Okay. So this is from a Twitter handle called Signal. He says, okay, think about it this way. Google equity is a stealth ETF of adjacent AGI era primitives. All right, forget that. What you're buying is a potential competitor to NVIDIA with their TPUs. Yep. Okay. YouTube, culturally dominant replacement for TV, partially in young people.
Yep.
And YouTube kids. 12% of Anthropic, aka an unpriced call option on a lab that might beat out OpenAI.
That's crazy, yeah.
Gemini plus search, assuming the behavioral shift isn't too drastic. So you got that. You have Chrome and Android, the global distribution rails. You have Waymo, demonstrated real-world AI. It's in markets and growing.
Right.
And then DeepMind, which is like doing the hardcore breakthroughs. So he's saying that it could potentially be a better AI play than NVIDIA.
Yeah, you get like the full stack.
You get the full, exactly. Yeah, you get the whole value chain. You get the distribution, you get the deep research, the frontier model, the applications, and the data. You get all the data.
You've loved it. You've loved that data narrative for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess I underplayed the distribution, but I was like, okay, Apple and Google, because they have all your data, and you want to use AI with your data. Like, you don't want to use it generically. You want it to eventually do things for you, tell it stuff about yourself. Apple just completely shit the bed, but Google looks like... And I think there's something about this that, like, I think I mentioned this 2 podcasts ago or last podcast, but Google has to be particularly cognizant of antitrust laws, and that they may have been slow paying a little, maybe stepping on their own dicks a little bit, like 50-50 of like, let's let someone get the lead and then we can like let it rip. And we have the argument that we need to be so powerful. We need to use all parts of our business to do this because look at this massive competitor that is threatening our existence. And so, or maybe it just took them long enough to actually unleash what they have. Okay.
So, I mean, there's a couple directions we could take this, but one direction I want to take it is like NVIDIA and the NVIDIA earnings call that we just heard today. I also want to compare the two. Like, who would you rather own going forward? I think let's talk about NVIDIA.
Yeah, tell me what because you listened to the call.
I listened to the call.
You're the equities analyst here, so what'd you hear?
Oh, man. It was so good.
Was it?
It's so good.
Really?
Yeah.
But before we were texting beforehand, and you were like, well, Jensen already mentioned like $500 billion of like booked revenue. Then like how many surprises, how much more optimism could actually come out during this call? So was there more than that?
I think, yeah, right. So it was about a month ago that they had a conference, a big conference in Washington, D.C., where they announced that they had booked $500 billion of Blackwell and Rubin sales. Rubin's like their next iteration after Blackwell. So I think when they released that announcement, NVIDIA shares shot higher because it's like, holy shit, that's a lot of sales. It wasn't really even the sales figures on this call, which are fucking astounding, by the way. Like when they're growing 60% plus top line at their size
and their margins. Don't they have like 75% gross margin?
75% gross margins. This, like we're seeing something that's never happened before at this scale. It's like, this is the best company ever imaginable. And I think people are just not comprehending how good it is. So like in our like text thread with Armon, like you mentioned, well, 25 times next year is like, is that
seems cheap?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like the S&P forward earnings is 22 times.
So it's basically on par.
It's like it's a market multiple for a company that's growing 62% and it's the biggest company on earth. And Jensen is talking about, I mean, the questions that I was like most interested in are like, okay, so how durable is this sales growth? How long is the runway?
Yeah, because 2026 in the bag, partial 2027 is in the bag.
Right. So they have like a fiscal calendar that's different from the standard calendar. So when they said that they have like $500 billion booked for 2026, part of that has already been realized because like their fiscal calendar. But they're like still taking orders. So they're saying, well, there's upside to this $500 billion number that we reported. And I think what I'm most interested in is like, okay, so what are like who are you going to be making money from? How durable is it? He's talking about like this current instantiation of AI as like the generative AI, which is like LLMs or whatever. He's talking about the second wave would be agentic, which you guys are kind of dabbling in, and we haven't really even seen that take off yet. And then he's talking about the third wave, which is the physical AI, which would be like vehicles driving themselves or robotics. And like, I think it's pretty clear to everyone that we see a future where like the physical AI is actually like the main game. But how many years down the road is it? Several, probably.
But he's painting like a pipeline of
he's
continued CapEx spending.
Yes, he's painting a pipeline for me to see that like the players in this game are spending the money now just on this first iteration, this first phase, and there are many more phases. And another question that came on was like, okay, so what are the bottlenecks for you? Because if all of your GPUs that you create are being sold immediately, which they are, because the demand is insatiable. He's like, so what are the bottlenecks? Is the bottleneck on energy? Is the bottleneck on financing? What is it? And he's like, well, these are all real bottlenecks, but we're solving them as we go. And it sort of caused me to zoom out a little bit. And I'm thinking like, maybe it's like tinfoily, but like, we want to win this race, don't we?
Yeah. U.S.
The U.S.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I don't think we want to lose this race.
No, you can't.
Okay, so you had asked me maybe an episode or two ago. You said like, have you thought more about your thesis that the CapEx spend was like the main thing you're looking at? I thought about that more, and I think the CapEx spend is going to come regardless. I think maybe the thing. Like the first principle of it is, as weird as it sounds to say, is like, does China keep spending? Because if we win the race, then we don't have to keep spending as much. But as long
you need a competitor to keep driving the competitive forces and
we will not lose to China, I don't think.
Right.
As long as China keeps going, we're going to keep going.
Okay, I buy into that.
Okay,
but. Yeah, I guess on your argument of you're looking at, are we going to fall off this cliff together? Are we going to keep running and run off the cliff together? Is do the hyperscalers continue to increase their CapEx? And yeah, if they stop or slow down, or a few of them stop or slow down, that's probably a bad sign. But I think if that does happen, like their own company economics makes it so that it doesn't make sense for them to continue spending, I think the government could potentially be a backstop. And
I completely agree. And to that point, oh man, I don't even want to pivot yet to the government. I want to focus on like on the hyperscalers for now. And what I was thinking about too is like, we're so focused on the ROI of this CapEx and like the unit economics. And I think when I look backwards to like different tech paradigm shifts, that has never been what people are worried about. Like
Focused on.
Yeah, I think when Facebook or Meta had like newly IPO'd, it's like a year or two into them being a publicly traded company. They're like, we're gonna like focus on mobile. They're like burning cash on mobile, and investors panicked. They're like, wait, the unit economics are terrible. What's the ROI on this CapEx? And then they fucking win that.
Yeah, so I think it's actually different because like mobile, what was their additional CapEx? It was like 100 more software engineers. And, I remember that time very specifically. I was like, they don't even have ads on mobile. Like all they need to do is turn on the ads and it's gonna win. And I remember buying Facebook at like $50 or $60.
Same.
Because I was like, this is dumb. Once they turn on the ads, you're gonna be stoked. Anyway, that CapEx wasn't real. This is real CapEx. And like I think this is the first time that technology investors have to actually worry about the cost because it's sucking up all the free cash flow. And if let's say you sell a piece of software, like an end application for a business or a user, usually in software applications, your gross margin is massive, because it's just the software running. But actually the inference demand of when you upload that like 10,000, row data sheet and ask it to run all these calculations on it is melting a GPU in the process and taking up all these tokens. And it's actually a real cost for it. So I think that's why it's a bigger worry this time is like the gross margins on ChatGPT are probably negative.
Well, I want to separate, by the way, NVIDIA from the rest.
The application layer.
Because NVIDIA, I think, is so well positioned.
They're fine. They can charge premium prices.
And
75%.
I think NVIDIA has like two risks that they should worry about. Back to what you said before.
What are those?
I mean, you have like the systematic risk, like that AI crash, like the demand isn't there. So AI it was built up to be more than it actually is, and then the party's over. That hurts all risk assets, but NVIDIA too. Their main one that I'm worried about is their competitive advantage, is their moat sufficient as time progresses, because there's going to be like new competitors coming in like Google TPUs. Yeah.
So on what was the first one again? Systemic demand.
Mm-hmm.
I think is there a technological advancement, some kind of software advancement or process improvement in which you get more tokens per, I don't know what the measurement is, wattage of GPU usage. I don't know what the metric is, but you're able to like output more tokens. That would kill the amount of GPUs you would need to buy if you can somehow produce 100 tokens instead of 10 for the same unit of measure. And what was your second one?
My second one was if there's like a competitor to the NVIDIA Blackwell GPU, like a Google TPU.
I don't know that. I don't understand this very well, but it's my understanding that CUDA, their platform, is their real moat. And I read something about Google and their TPUs, which is their like ASIC version, that they need to build something for businesses to easily take their CUDA programmed usage of these GPUs, and I'm botching this hilariously, but they need to be able to port it over, because you can't just replace, take the rack out, take the GPU out, put the TPU in. You have to, your whole platform around it has to go into it. So they need to basically make like a migration tool so that these businesses can easily take their NVIDIA designed entire platform around these GPUs and transfer it over. And that could take years.
Yeah, I agree. I think CUDA is a massive competitive advantage. I think what I was surprised that Jensen said this on the call. He said that basically their own balance sheet is a huge advantage, because when a company like OpenAI wants to like build gigawatts of data center, NVIDIA can help underwrite that.
Yeah.
And no other company.
Been hearing a lot about NVIDIA Ventures, which is what happens when you have too much cash on your balance sheet. Just like, we'll start a venture arm that strategically makes investments. Google's always had that for a long time. Yeah, their balance sheet is.
But the Google one, I don't feel like Google, I mean, Waymo came out of it, so that's pretty awesome.
I think that was an internal incubation versus G Ventures, which is like, no, we're just going to invest in.
Okay. So what I like about NVIDIA's version is that they'll just give money to a customer that ends up paying them the money back.
That's true.
It ends up coming back as revenue. And they get equity.
All those circle jerk memes that just popped in my
The
head.
circle jerks are incredible.
Yeah, the memes are amazing.
I guess if I was going to TLDR this, long story short, I think party goes on.
Okay, can I give I found like an amazing wrap up of the state of AI. So I think an amazing follow, and I sent you this last week after the pod, but this guy, Gavin Baker, I think I mentioned him. I think he's one of the like clearest speakers of AI, and he translates it to market. So he runs an investment firm, and I think they do private and public market investing. Like he's invested in XAI. He also invests in public stocks. So I think he's in a good place to give some thoughts, and he gives a lot. And he was commenting on the Gemini 3 launch. And so this is back to Google a little bit. And I'll just maybe like cover some of his stuff. But if you go to his Twitter account, you'll see his whole article. And this is important for NVIDIA. Gemini 3 shows that scaling laws for pre-training are intact, which means the more GPUs you throw at it, the smarter the model comes. This is the most important AI data point since the release of O1. This means that Blackwell models are likely to show a significant increase in performance when they come out in second quarter of 2026. GPT-5 was not evidence of a slowdown in scaling models. People widely said GPT-5 was not that good. GPT-5 was designed to be cheaper to inference, not better. It was actually a smaller model behind a router. And please do not tell me that Gemini 3 was trained on TPUs and therefore not a read-through to Blackwell. He says coherent flops are what matter for pre-training, whether it's Blackwell or TPU. So he's basically saying it doesn't matter that NVIDIA has a competitor because it's just a pure amount of like flops that you throw at this thing. And the more GPUs you throw at it, the smarter the models come. So you're going to continue to see CapEx investment.
That's such a great point. I think, just like the total throughput is obviously the best metric, but at some point we're going to get to a place where we're going to be constrained by energy usage, real estate space. So I think efficiency will ultimately matter.
Yep.
But for now, it's just like the Blackwell is the best, and that's what matters.
You mentioned power shortages. I'm kind of skipping ahead in this, but he says power shortages could be great for Blackwell. When watts are the bottleneck, tokens per watt will drive decision making as tokens literally equals revenue. And then he goes on to say that these power-related shortages are likely to increase going forward and impact more players. I believe this is positive. Power shortages are a natural governor on the AI build-out that reduce the odds of an overbuild. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think I guess like his main point is that we haven't overbuilt for demand.
And we probably can't build because there's an actual energy bottleneck. Can we go back to ChatGPT, and you mentioned government a little bit? Because he makes an argument that when OpenAI made a statement and said, I think it was something to the effect of, I think their CFO said, at some point it might make sense that the government is like a backstop to these build outs because of how important it is. And he thinks that's what caused this little correction that we're seeing, because it made investors question, wait, why do you need the government to backstop this build out? If your ROI was good, you wouldn't even be thinking about the government backstopping this build out. So your ROI must not be good.
Oh, I agree.
Therefore,
I agree. I think investors had a little bit of a wake-up call that we had been talking about on Alfalfa for a long time. Wake-up calls like, why are you using a 5-year useful life when these things probably you're going to use them for 1 or 2 years? Then
but they are in fact using them for 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah, you do see like even A100s still being used today. Yeah. But I don't think that like the cutting edge hyperscalers are going to be using A100s. They're going to be wanting the best of the best of the best.
Yeah.
But I do think that like this was a bit of a wake up call. We had a question of what is the durability of this bull market based on the unit economics. And I think what this NVIDIA earnings call is going to do is going to remind people that the runway is a lot longer.
Last thing I'll mention is he has a section on the ROI on AI.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. As of the third quarter, ROIC, return on invested capital, the hyperscalers remains higher than it was before they ramped up CapEx on GPUs. This is the most accurate way to quantitatively measure the ROI on AI, as it also captures the immense revenue benefits that Google Meta have seen from moving their recommendation and advertising systems to GPUs from CPUs. It is possible that we have an ROIC air pocket over the next 2 quarters as CapEx ramps sharply for Blackwell, and there's definitely no initial ROI on this spend as the Blackwells are used for training. They're not used to generate revenue. Obviously, the only ROI on AI comes from inference. Let me see. Yeah, I'll skip his second part. But he's saying there is a metric for measuring the ROI. It's return on invested capital, and you can see it in all the hyperscalers, earnings releases and their financials. And it's even better than it was before they did this CapEx, which is wild. If someone made me bet on that, I would have said it's definitely lower than before they started CapEx.
I think it's important to go back to what the phases that Jensen's talking about, because even this upgrade from CPUs to GPUs for like the algorithms in social media, that's like phase 1 still.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So like if you're getting a positive ROIC in phase 1, and we haven't even really touched on phase 2, which is agentic, which like you have been dabbling in,
right?
But you've also noticed that like hard to accomplish, and we're not even really
right
there
now.
yet.
Yeah. Okay. His next sentence is actually perfectly relevant. It took S&P 500 companies roughly 5 years to begin broadly shifting to cloud versus having servers on premises. So that was another big trend that we went, and it took 5 years for them to adopt that. So to move from CPUs to GPUs and running inference, it could take 5 years for the biggest companies to like adopt that trend. He says AI might be happening faster. I do think it was notable that the third quarter was the first time multiple S&P 500 companies gave concrete data on AI productivity that impacted their financials. And he says it usually takes 5 years for larger companies to start adopting what VCs are actually investing in. So VCs are investing in, they have been investing in frontier models. They're investing in all the agentic type companies. And the waves are continuing. And he says his conclusion, all of this suggests that we are still very early in AI.
So early. And I remember it was like several months ago when we were talking about NVIDIA and what Wall Street expectations were for 2026, 2027. And those numbers were like the revenue growth expectation was like in the mid-teens. They just grew at 62%. And they're $5 trillion.
Right.
And I think like they've already given insight into what 2026 looks like. Plus there's upside to that number. There's going to be a longer runway than people imagine. I feel like bull market is on.
Yeah. So definitely file NVIDIA earnings under the bull case. I'd also put under, what do we have in the bull case as well? Oh, sentiment. Sentiment feels like crap.
Okay, hold on. Are you calling that a bull or a bear?
I'm calling it a bull.
Okay, I want to call it a bear.
Why?
Well, I want to lump in general investor sentiment with like prominent investor sentiment.
I think we really care about is positioning. Like, are people over allocated or under allocated stocks?
Okay, so let's just talk about the numbers. So you have like the fear and greed index. The fear and greed index registered a single digit number, extreme fear, single digits out of 100. And I think it's important to note that the fear and greed index has like time horizons, right? So the fear and greed index hit single digits, extreme fear on a short-term time horizon, like a 1 week or 2 week. It wasn't like a month's fear and greed. Month's fear and greed was at 25, which is still fear.
So it's still lower.
Still very low.
Yeah.
I mean, you're calling that bullish. I think based on what I've read, the studies are that, in the near term, that suggests markets go lower. In the long term, it suggests higher.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up this chart on positioning. I can't find it as easily. But But it looks like they measured the AAI Bulls Bears spread, and the Bears last week were very high. And usually when it reaches a high enough level, it usually marks some kind of bottom. So anyway, that's in the bull case. I think it's a bull that people are nervous. I think it's good and healthy, and if positioning matches, then that's also good. Because if people are underweight stocks for whatever reason.
Oh, well, like here's another data point for that. Like going into NVIDIA earnings today, I was looking at the expected move, in which you can calculate based on options premiums. And I saw that it was like a 7% expected move up or down. It ended up resolving around that, 7% up with after hours, which is not that meaningful. But what I thought was interesting is that the implied vol on the calls, at the money calls, was like 47%. Implied vol on the puts at the money was 120%. So it's like everybody was sort of like bracing for pain, which lines up with sentiment, which also lines up with like what Armand wanted to talk about, which is you see guys like, what did he text? Peter Thiel, 100% sold NVIDIA. 3/4 out of Tesla. SoftBank sold all their NVIDIA. Michael Burry shorted NVIDIA and Palantir. Druckenmiller dramatically reduced NVIDIA. And I think the list can go on and on and on.
These are the 13F filings?
From September 30th. Did you register this as even a data point in your mind?
I don't look at those because they're like very far outdated. They could have changed their mind in the last 6 weeks. They most likely did. And they could have just rotated into different parts of equities, right?
Yeah, I think Peter Thiel, notably in his fund, he sold out of NVIDIA and Tesla and bought Apple and Microsoft.
Okay.
Which I think, when you look at 13Fs, I think people make a big deal out of them. But what's important to note as well, I think you can take it as a data point. What's important to note as well is that you don't have to report hedging activities. You don't have to report, you might have like different accounts that you're not, that you're like holding things in that you don't necessarily report.
I mean, they obviously matter to an extent because Berkshire Hathaway like disclosed like a $5 billion position in Google, and the stock went up the day after it was announced. So they matter to some extent.
Yeah, I suppose I'm so bullish. I look at what those guys did on September 31st or 30th, and I say, good trade in the short term, but
yeah,
I want to hold it.
Maybe in the bear case, the Japanese carry trade. So we were I was texting you this last night that the Japanese bond yield is increasing, and people were borrowing yen to
the Japanese carry trade has been like a liquidity injection into U.S. markets for 30 years.
Yeah, and so I don't know much about it. I don't know its impact. Like I imagine sharp spikes are a big deal, but gradual increases are probably less of a big deal.
I think of it as a data point. I think it's meaningful, but you have to counterbalance it with all global liquidity. So, like what's quantitative tightening doing? What's the Treasury General account doing? Yeah. I think markets themselves become like faucets of liquidity as like prices go up. That's just more wealth and more collateral to invest with. I think the Japanese carry trade, it's no longer feasible.
Yeah, that's true. I imagine people have been phasing out of it, you would think. Also, I guess people assumed that we would just see like a steady interest rate decline, and we obviously haven't seen that. I think the markets are pricing in less than a 50% chance of a rate decrease in December.
Right.
I don't know if that's that big of a deal, because I think, I guess we're waiting on all these jobs data to show up since the government's been shut down. No one knows if there's been layoffs or people have been losing jobs or getting jobs. But I don't know. I'm imagining that you'll still have interest rate cuts next year. And then when Trump gets whoever that is, his little lemming in office.
Agree.
Yeah, we're still okay.
Can we talk about that? Maybe like the governmental impact on all of this. So I'm going to call this a bear case. Maybe it's like a bull then a bear case, but I'm not, like, everybody here knows that I'm not like politically inclined, but within the last couple of weeks, we've had like a pretty big, election cycle.
We had some like special elections.
Okay, so the New York mayor resolved in Mamdani.
Yeah, I think there was like 5 or 6 of them. They all Democratic sweep.
Okay, yeah. There was like governor of Virginia, Georgia, etc. And so I had a side chat with Steven about this, and he told me, he's like, this was like a massive win for Dems.
Yeah, it certainly felt like that. And, you know, the midterms are always like a sign of, they're like a vote on has the current president, you know, done what he said he's going to do. It's a vote on them. And I remember like, and you typically see like a swing back, right? Like when Obama came in his first midterms, he even said that one hurt, like, cause they just lost a majority of the midterms.
So Obama in his first administration, lost the midterms, but won the presidential
re-election. But you got to imagine, like, when you win both the House and the Senate and the White House, you're just going to see this natural pendulum swing back. So I'm not that worried about it. But I mean, if people are losing jobs, if people don't feel as rich, if they feel like inflation is still hurting them.
Okay, help me understand this then. I'm looking at, I think it was The Economist put out, I don't have a link for this, but The Economist put out approval rating for Trump, and it was like down on
not good, huh?
every metric.
Yeah, it's not good. I think you just passed the honeymoon phase.
Okay, so I mean, if you're saying that these early elections are not meaningful, is this approval rating meaningful? Is anything meaningful?
Yeah, the approval rating's probably not great. I mean, you even have parts of his own party. What's her name? Marjorie
Taylor
Greene. She's like basically saying you're not focusing on Americans. Your Make America Great Again strategy, but you're focusing on Gaza. You're focusing on, deals in, wars outside. You're focusing on trade deals with all these other countries. You're focusing on Saudi, and but what have you done for us lately?
Mm-hmm. And
if you think about, you really haven't heard about major legislation that the administration is trying to push through, and usually if you have a major legislation you want to push through, you have to do it within the first 18 to 24 months because you're right back in election season. So, and they have the House, the Senate, and the White House. So I think our argument is like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't we trying to push through major legislation? Like, pick a topic, But I think seems like Trump is just relying on the powers of the executive branch to make things happen rather than trying to push stuff through legislation.
Okay, so I guess I'm seeing a trend.
But what are you worried about?
Okay, I'm worried about, you got Trump approval ratings going down. You have these like early indications of Dem success. I'm thinking that Mamdani winning in New York could be like a canary in the coal mine or an early indication that the American public wants to go in a different direction. I think if we do go in a different direction and we vote Dem for the next president, I think it would be probably likely that it's like a populist version of a Dem, something like the mirror image of Trump, but on the left. And I think that, long story short, that's going to be pretty bad for markets. And I'm going to just phrase it as this. Like, when you have a K-shaped economy, Republicans seem to care about the upper arm of the K, and Dems seem to care about the lower arm of the K. And I think the lower arm of the K, like catering towards that, means like sequestering spend towards AI, probably.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with like which part of the K, Democrats and Republicans like tend to focus on. But the point is that Trump came in saying, we're we're going to have an E-shaped economy, right? We're going to prioritize labor over capital. And like Wall Street, you're going to have to suck it up a little because like tariffs are important for United States labor. We're going to reindustrialize the country. We're going to get investment into the country, and that's going to be good for labor. It may not necessarily be good for capital. And that's not necessarily what happened, because in order to do that, you would have had to do what they originally tried to do, which is take down the deficit significantly. You'd have to still get investment in the country, and see job growth. But instead, what we're probably seeing is like, and maybe this is just AI taking over any influence like the government has over the economy, and just showing, mass profits and mass layoffs is what you could potentially see, right? And that would be bad, and you would go even more populist.
Absolutely.
And wait till people see their energy bills go up because of AI. Yeah, we'll start hearing all kinds of like weird arguments that we haven't heard.
They took my jobs and they raised my bill.
And they're harming the environment.
Right.
Because they need to use natural gas in order to, fuel the data centers.
Oh my God. Imagine if we have like an energy bottleneck, we're going to start burning coal.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you saw, but Anthropic released this report on what they described as the first cyber attack that was completely run through AI agents. And so I don't know. I think, sentiment could very easily turned against AI in general, and you'll get the populist version of Trump that is against AI, and that could be a
this is
no-go zone.
This is my big fear. Markets are not going to like this. And I'm wondering if this pullback, which coincided very timely with like Mamdani winning and the Dem sweep, I'm wondering if those two things are correlated. And now I'm thinking like, okay, so we have this underpinning of like maybe a political shift that's happening in the long term, but we got the all clear from NVIDIA, and that gives us this limited window where we can like go balls long with leverage and enjoy this like euphoria. Let's let this bubble actually turn into a bubble over like the next 6 to 8 months. At which point I'll be like, I want to get out because I don't want to play with fire for the midterms in November next year.
Well, the good thing is I think you have like political incentives at your back, right? Because Trump saw this, Bessent saw this, and they're probably like, we're going to need to pump the market in order for us to be strong going into the midterms. They probably have a handful of pretty powerful tools, like just Trump speaking and saying things are going to go up probably helps a lot. They're going to control who the Fed chair is, and then there's probably a lot Bessent can do to tweak liquidity at the margins.
Yep.
And good thing is that their political incentives align with your own financial incentives.
For now, yeah.
So just
which I
trust in those for now.
And also, I like that it like to bring back what I was saying at the beginning. It's like when the S&P 500 is like 50% AI, it becomes very clear what lever you need to focus on to juice the market. So in that case, just pull that lever and make everybody rich and happy, and you'll be good in November.
I have a feeling that like Trump will do whatever it takes to keep the market going. He's shown so many. I mean, the market goes down. He goes, "Oh, we had a little wiggle. It's all right. We backed off. We took care of it." I think he'll keep it going. But I agree. Like, you got to see what happens in the midterms, and if the Democrats take midterms, then I don't know. You could argue it's bullish because they're not going to be able to. Neither side is going to be able to pass any legislation, right? Like, just because Dems win the House and the Senate doesn't mean they're going to pass anything, because the president could just veto it. So you just get like nothing happening. Becomes a lame duck presidency. But he's kind of using the executive branch as much as he can anyway. So I don't know.
I was looking at I don't know if this is still true, but I was looking at Polymarket maybe like a week ago, and I was looking at odds to win the Democratic nominee.
Yeah,
Newsom was like the favorite at 38% or something.
He's obviously making a play.
But I thought AOC was like killer odds at 8%.
I think it's a good bet.
Yeah.
Good bet. I like that. I don't know. Have you ever talked to anyone who live outside of California? They all think people in California are crazy. They all think it's like the dumbest state to live in. Everything's upside down. Nothing makes sense. And
yeah, which makes me think that Newsom is not going to win.
He's not a national candidate.
Right? Like nobody in California even likes him, and then nobody outside of California likes California.
Right. So is he really that, a big appeal to the entire country? I don't know. I think he's got problems. Okay. Anything else on the market? Oh, can I describe? So 3 weeks ago, Armand was talking about, hey, there's these new like indexes you can create.
Oh, like the baskets.
The basket. So I was playing around creating a basket. I want to get your input on my basket.
I actually had more questions on the baskets. I was like looking this up this week even. I was like, yeah, what were they talking about with these baskets?
Okay, let me see if I can find it. But I created a let's see, build your basket. Where's my existing basket? I have a gold AI barbell basket.
Okay, so before we even describe your the intricacies of the basket, I wanted to know like why you like these baskets. I think, are you using Fidelity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fidelity's look like the easiest to use.
Yeah, they have this like tool where you can set up your own basket. They charge you a small fee, like $5 a month or something.
It's so cheap.
Right. But is the benefit just in the auto rebalancing and auto deploying of new funds? Is that what it is?
Well, it's funny because it doesn't auto rebalance and auto tax loss harvest. You have a button where you can immediately rebalance everything.
But like tax loss harvesting is like more complicated. You'd like have to set up a bigger
it actually doesn't do that part for you, which is not ideal. I thought I was gonna be able to pull up this basket very easily, but it doesn't look like it. But the number one holding was Google in there.
But this is something that you set up.
Yeah, like I was like, all right, if I was gonna create a basket of like 30-ish stocks, what would go in there? And there was like 20 or 25% gold, and the rest was like Google Mag 7. There was like 8 natural gas plays in there.
I love nat gas.
Yeah,
What do you have? A Comstock?
I don't know. I picked like 8 companies.
Okay. I'm on CRK Comstock.
Okay, I don't know if that one's in there.
You put it on there.
And then I put a few cybersecurity plays in there.
CrowdStrike?
Yeah, CrowdStrike. And what's the other one? Palo Alto. Yeah, Palo Alto. And then I had like Micron in there.
Oh my God, I love Micron.
Yeah. Broadcom.
Yeah.
AMD. AMG. Thinking about my car.
Your car.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's roughly how it was focused. But I think I put like Google at 10%, and then everything else ended up being like 2 to 4% of the basket.
No NVIDIA.
No, NVIDIA's in there too. It's the second highest holding.
Okay.
Yeah. But I started putting money in there, but I'm in this weird thing where
I want gold at 25%?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Just as like a hedge.
Okay.
Like that should be like inverse beta too. It should be.
Having just 2 guys on a pod is difficult. I had to pee so bad.
Well, we can just wrap it up too. That's also the other option.
Keep talking about your baskets.
No. Let's finish up real quick with Scott Galloway, then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're gonna like this one. Okay, so Scott Galloway was on Bill Maher's show, and he describes the second worst thing and the first worst thing that's ever happened to young men. Okay, second worst thing. Remote work. 1 in 3 relationships begin at work. This is where you find your friends, your mentors, your mates, and especially young men need the guardrails of a workplace.
Remote work is the second worst thing that's happened to young men.
Second worst thing ever. And think about it, you're 22 years old. Where are you going to find your friends? Maybe your significant other? Like
people love remote work.
Oh, it's
okay,
terrible.
Keep going.
You're going to love this first one. the worst thing that has happened to young people is the anti-alcohol movement. And he specifically says, like, marginal, like, hurt to your liver that a 25-year-old could do is so nominal that, like, fuck it. Go out and drink with your friends and make some bad decisions, and, like, but go out in the physical world and, like, hang out with people and, you know, secure some bonds over some alcohol. And that's the whole anti-alcohol movement plus remote work has meant young boys just stay inside.
I don't even understand the anti-alcohol movement. Can you help me? The Gen Zs don't drink alcohol. And is it a health thing?
I'm 40, dude. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm guessing it's a health thing. I get it. Like, yeah.
Probably like we didn't smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, right. Like drinking is a poison. It's a poison. It's a literal poison.
Yeah.
I agree. But I think the difference between alcohol and cigarettes is that there's like centuries of Lindy with alcohol. And I think if you look at the results, just the result, I'm not even going to talk about the narratives, but like look at the results. The ones who don't drink now are the young kids, and they're all having fucking mental breakdowns and emotional problems. And you have centuries of Lindy of people who drink and procreate and continue on like civilization.
Our hangouts with our buddies, usually over drinks, are a lot of what I think a young guy needs. Like, you get a little therapy, you talk about your problems, you talk about your issues, you get a little venting in, you get inspiration and motivation. Like, you hear what your other friends are doing and you get excited by it, and maybe you get different ideas about it, and you get the camaraderie of like knowing that you have like a fallback. You know, you have friends that's like outside of your family. And
okay, my urge to pee faded. Yeah. Like, I can go forever now. Uh-huh. Maybe it's the topic.
Okay, good.
But I think what you're talking about is important, because with drinking, like, you can say drinking to somebody and they'll, like, 1,000 people come up with a different image of what you mean, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like how we envision it is like here on a podcast or out at dinner amongst friends. We're cheersing, we're getting authentic and deep with each other. Another version is you're in a dark dungeon of a bar
slamming shots,
watching the Jets game on a Monday.
Yeah, that's different.
Or there's like a version where you're like at home in your mom's basement, you're cracking a beer to like play League of Legends again. You know, like, I think there's just like different varietals of what drinking means, and I think it's important to differentiate.
Scott's probably talking the classical sense, which is just go out with a bar with a few of your mates, meet other people, guys, girls, whatever, make friends, be social, be around other people, don't black out, but have a few. And I mean, it's undoubtedly, like, whether it's in a professional context or a personal context, that having a few drinks makes things just like so much easier for everyone to get along.
He literally even says to black out. I mean, he doesn't say literally black out. He says, go make mistakes.
Yeah. Go make a ton of mistakes. Learn from them. I mean, I think it back to some of like the bigger deals I've made, and they happen usually at conferences, right? Like, and maybe this relationship builds over time, and you kind of know someone, you're starting to work with someone, but then you're like, hey, why don't we go to dinner at this conference and we'll go out afterwards? You spend 2 to 3 hours at dinner, you're getting to know them, you drink, you go out afterwards, and maybe you both get way too drunk. But then you wake up in the morning and you like share this like trials and tribulations of the night before, like, and the stories and the vulnerability you get, and it like makes things happen a lot faster. Maybe you're both hungover in the morning and you're like, man, that was brutal. Or do you remember that one time we drank so much, and you just instant connection?
Yeah, even like the stupidity of it can be a bonding factor.
I think that's what I'm trying to say, is like the stupidity of it is like, look what we did together that was so dumb or
and
so
it's like,
silly.
It becomes this like memory between you two that cements a relationship a little deeper. And I have room in my soul for folks who are like, well, drinking doesn't serve me, it isn't for me, I don't like it, whatever. I think that's fine. But just know that like there are people out there who are cementing these bonds at a deeper level over this fucking substance for whatever reason. And it's truly happening.
Yeah. But I agree. You can't. What doesn't count is cracking open a beer for your League of Legends game at home by yourself.
Right. And I'm like weird about it because like I won't even drink like a glass of wine if I'm making a steak at home with my wife. I have no interest in like that kind of drinking. My only interest is like the social, friends, fun, whatever type.
That's funny. I can't remember a single instance where my wife and I drank at home.
But that's like a very common one
Yeah.
that I would call like mundane and acceptable. I think the whole world would, but that's just not for me. Like my whole thing is like, let's go get sociable and fun and deeper connection. It doesn't matter if it's deep or not. It's deeper than it probably would have been.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like, I've found that alcohol doesn't serve me as much as it used to, and I toned it way back. But if I'm at a conference or I'm at a dinner with friends, like, use it when it's useful to you most, right? Like that's when it's the most fun.
Well, let me even bridge it to Scott Galloway's first point, which is the work from home epidemic.
Yeah.
I've been working from home for 15 years, long before COVID. COVID was one of those things that kind of like exonerated me from my lifestyle, which I liked. But I think in living in the way that I did or do for so long, but also being like a sociable guy, I found just sort of like means to circumvent what I'm missing from like missing the office.
But could I argue that if you've never had it, you don't know what you're missing?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I started my career working in a fucking cubicle for years.
Oh, that's true. I guess you did know. Yeah. You worked at multiple offices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that has its own, I don't know. It's kind of funny, like in the way that the show The Office is. Like, you have like all your characters.
You worked at large companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the point that I brought up at the beginning of the pod that I wanted to stick a pin in is that if you're working, are you working to make friends or are you working to make money?
No, you're working to make money. But I think like we more than ever require new hires to be in the office. Like it's just a not negotiable tool.
No, I think that having employees in the workplace creates a better work product.
By far,
like, full stop.
Way more optimal than a remote company.
Yeah, I think being an owner of my company that works from home, I'm either eating or I'm not based on what I kill. It doesn't matter if I'm sitting at this desk or that desk.
Yeah, I mean, we have everyone in the office to make money. Everyone's here to do that. But there are a few people going to the Formula One race this weekend, and we're going to hang out. And they're employees, but it's not going to be a thing, right? Like, it's not why we're doing it, not why we're all here to make friends. Like what I tell everyone is that we're a sports team, not a family. And someone even said like, "Oh, welcome to the family." I was like, "Oh, correction, not a family, sports team." And they go,
Mr.
"Oh,
Burns.
right." I mean, you got to remind it because family implies unconditional love, and it's like, sorry, dude, there's a bench and there's starting players, and like, if you're not good enough, you don't have a seat. So, anyway.
Okay.
I think you can still have it, and teammates still go hang out with each other and become friends.
I agree. Okay, so let me give this nuance. Like, if you work from home and you are lacking that sort of like institutionalized friendship, right? That you would get through years of school, right? Like college gives you sort of like friendship just by proximity.
Proximity, yeah.
So when if you work from home, how do you still find that? I found that just through like getting involved in activities and
tennis.
Yeah, tennis, CFA program, like finding like-minded individuals that way. But just to be clear, those relationships often don't become cemented to anything deeper until you go get drinks at a later time, and then you like make real memories and make real friendships.
I agree. You reach like next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I play tennis with people and they're my tennis friends, but like going to get drinks with somebody later is like
you're my friend.
Yeah.
You're not my tennis friend. You're my friend.
Yeah.
All right. So does the argument still remain? You think that's the number one worst thing that's ever happened to young males?
Yeah. I think particularly young men. Well, his other argument is that like young men like need more structure than we think they do.
Yeah. You don't want to be a remote work jerking off all day. Like there's constraints in the workplace. You can't do that.
I've been a young man before. You need help. You need boundaries.
Right. I get it. I'm amazed by just your need to pee just faded quickly. Is it back?
I absorbed it back into my body.
Science. That's as science as the reticular activating system. Okay. Let's wrap up. Let's go grab a drink. Be friends, not just podcast friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hold on. I want to see what people said in the chat.
Okay. Alan says, that's all we had in college. There were no phones, social media. You were always waiting to go out on the weekend or after finals or Tuesday. It was more Thursdays at San Diego State than Tuesdays. But yeah, I mean, the only way you'd see people is like you got to go somewhere in person.
$2 you call? It's
oof. I mean, a lot of our friendship was sealed over several nights, several years of going out in Pacific Beach.
I try to think, like, how did we sort of find ourselves?
We met in Students in Free Enterprise. We were just Students in Free Enterprise friends. And then we lived next to each other. We had mutual friends. And then we drank a lot and became friends. I remember there was a whole stretch, though, like 6 months where I would go out till midnight and then I would leave because I had Muay Thai in the morning. And every night it was like a test. Could I actually leave the group at like midnight and go home and sleep instead of...
Because the group would still be out there.
And it would be so much fun. It would be like peak fun at that moment. It's like, fuck, can I do this? Anyway, it was a good stretch.
Good willpower, man.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Thanks, everyone in the chat, for joining us tonight. I don't know if we're going to be back next week because it's Thanksgiving, and I don't know what everyone's travel plans are.
I feel like Thanksgiving we should probably take a week off.
Maybe.
Well, I'll be here.
Okay.
But
I think I'll be here too.
You can drop the alpha again.
Yeah. We talk with the boys, see what they got planned as well.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, guys, that was fun. Leave us notes in the comments if you hated what we said. Share us with a friend if you liked it. All the links are at alfalfapod.com, and like the video if you haven't already. Please and thank you. And we'll see you next week. Later, guys. Bye.
Bye.